Okay, so today we're going to talk about Chapter 3 and Chapter 5 from Ethical Educational Leadership in Turbulent Times. These chapters are deeply connected. Chapter 3 introduces turbulence theory as framework for understanding instability in educational environment. Chapter 5 then applies ethical leadership frameworks to real-world conflicts in curriculum, instruction, and assessment. The central premise connecting these chapters is that educational leaders do not operate in calm, neutral environments. Instead, they lead within politically charged, accountability-driven, socially complex systems. Leaders must interpret instability carefully and respond ethically. Turbulence theory provides the diagnostic lens, and Chapter 5 shows the ethical actions, what ethical actions look like in practice. Throughout this presentation, I will explain the theoretical foundation of turbulence, analyze its key components, and then connect those ideas to the curriculum-based ethical dilemmas presented in Chapter 5. Turbulence theory offers a structured way to analyze instability in schools. Rather than labeling disruption simply as conflict or crisis, Shapiro and Gross frame turbulence as contextual intensity created by interacting forces. Schools are embedded in political mandates, community expectations, demographic changes, economic pressures, and policy reforms. Turbulence exists along a continuum: light, moderate, severe, and extreme. Light turbulence may involve minor disagreement or routine change. Moderate turbulence may involve policy shifts or leader transitions that create uncertainty. Severe turbulence may involve public conflict, media scrutiny, or significant morale issues. Extreme turbulence threatens organizational stability or safety. The critical leadership responsibility is diagnosis. Leaders must ask, what level of turbulence are we experiencing? What forces are interacting? A misdiagnosis can escalate the situation. Ethical leadership begins with accurate contextual assessment. Although turbulence often produces stress, it can produce growth. Light to moderate turbulence may prompt critical reflections and innovation. For example, accountability mandates may initially create pressure, but can reveal achievement disparities requiring attention. Turbulence can disrupt complacency. In stable systems, inequities may persist unnoticed. Moderate disruptions force organizations to reevaluate policies, grading practices, disciplinary procedures, and tracking systems. Positionality is equally critical. Positionality refers to how one's role, authority, identity, and power influences perception. A superintendent may see reform as strategic necessities. A teacher may experience the same reform as overwhelming workload. A parent may interpret it as opportunity or threat. Ethical leaders must reflect on how their positional authority shapes interpretation. Leaders must ask, how might teachers perceive this? How might students experience this? Awareness of positionality prevents authoritarian decision-making and promotes inclusive leadership. Turbulence rarely stays isolated. It cascades. A legislative mandate at the state level may cascade to the district level, then to principals, then to teachers, and ultimately to the students. Each level may experience increasing intensity. For example, a new standardized testing requirement may be moderate turbulence at the state level. At the classroom level, it may become severe turbulence due to instructional shifts, pacing pressures, and anxiety among students. Stability represents predictability, calm conditions. However, stability is not inherently virtuous. Stable systems can perceive inequities, structures such as disproportionate discipline or limited access to advanced coursework. Leaders must determine whether stability reflects health or complacency. The three forces shaping turbulence are environmental force, organizational force, personal and positional forces. Environmental force is policy mandates, social movements, community expectations. Organizational forces are internal culture, leadership capacity, staff cohesion. And finally, personal or positional forces are beliefs, authority, experiences of individuals. When these forces intersect intensely, turbulence escalates. Ethical leadership requires an analysis of all three of them. Turbulence theory aligns with chaos theory in recognizing nonlinear change. Small actions may trigger large systematic consequences. A seemingly minor curriculum revision may ignite intense community debate. The aviation metaphor, light, moderate, severe, extreme, helps leaders conceptualize turbulence intensity. In light turbulence, reassurance and communication may suffice. In severe turbulence, leaders must intervene strategically, classify expectations, and restore trust. In extreme turbulence, stabilization and safety become immediate priorities. In the current educational policy climate, turbulence is constant. Leaders navigate debates around culturally responsive curriculum, parental right legislation, standardized testing, technology integration, and resource inequities. Understanding turbulence theory prevents reactive leadership and promotes thoughtful, ethical resources and responses. Chapter 5 transitions from theory to applied ethical dilemmas. The central tension is between exercising power and offering accommodations. Power involves asserting professional authority. Accommodation involves adjusting decisions in response to stakeholders' concerns. Curriculum, instruction, and assessment decisions are value-laden. They reflect beliefs about knowledge, equity, opportunity, and purpose of schooling. Leaders must balance competing interests without abandoning ethical principles. The four ethical paradigms, justice, care, critique, and profession, guide these decisions. Justice demands fairness, care emphasizes relationship, critique questions inequity. The profession highlights professional standards and integrity. Case Study 5.1 examines assignments of undesirable classes. Leaders must consider fairness among teachers while prioritizing student needs. An ethic of justice demands equitable distribution. An ethic of care considers teachers' burnout. The profession reminds educators of shared responsibility. Case 5.2 explores innovative programming that may challenge traditional structures. Leaders must weigh innovation against organizational stability. Suppressing innovation through rigid power may hinder growth. Excessive accommodation may fragment coherence. In 5.3, it focuses on culturally responsive teaching. Leaders must balance standardized expectations with culturally sensitive pedagogy. Political resistance may intensify turbulence. Ethical leadership requires courage and commitment to equity. Case 5.4 addresses tension between elite college preparatory curriculum and practical workforce-oriented curriculum. Leaders must examine equity implications. Who gains access? Who is excluded? Curriculum reflects social stratification. Case 5.5. Case 5.5 highlights curricular narrowing under accountability mandates. Leaders must balance compliance with persevering creativity, arts, and holistic education. Case 5.6 examines automation and technology-driven reform. While technology may increase efficiency, leaders must consider relational aspects of teaching. Human-centered education must remain central. Across these cases, power and accommodation interact within varying turbulent levels. Turbulence theory provides a diagnostic framework of curriculum conflict. Before responding, leaders must assess contextual intensity, positionality, and cascading effects. Ethical leadership involves balancing justice, care, critique, and professional standards. Leaders must exercise moral courage, particularly in politically charged environments. Understanding turbulence enables leaders to respond strategically rather than reactively. It promotes reflective, ethical decision making. In addition to Shapiro and Gross, this presentation is conceptually supported by scholarships of curriculum power, culturally responsive teaching, adaptive leadership, system thinking, and ethical leadership. Together, these reinforce that ethical educational leadership requires contextual awareness, reflective analysis, and principled courage in turbulent times. Thank you.